Hello, my name is Shay, and I want to take this video to explain my code for my Year 2 Semester 1 project. Let's see. First of all, I will talk about the audio manager that I used. Um, Let me see here. Yeah, audio manager. Um, what this does, it uses events to keep track of the music files that you have in your project, and these scripts are each attached to different either SFX sounds, background music, or ambient sounds. And these can just be simply attached to game objects, which will play these sounds basically using event senders. So using that kind of observer pattern, it's very effective and easy to use this, I think, in different projects. As well, the character controller, it's just a basic 3D controller that came with the model that I'm using. I didn't write it. Moving on to the actual ones I did write. I'll start with the dialogue first of all. So this class right here, single responsibility, it just defines the dialogue as a class and what it is. And the dialogue trigger um, code right here, this script gets attached to the dialogue objects, which allows the sentences to be typed. It also contains the trigger dialogue method here, which takes the start dialogue, this being attached to the game object, rather than attaching the dialogue manager script to each game object. Just attaching this one allows you to call the start dialogue from here. And in the dialogue manager, I also I use a queue parameter, which instead of a list, I used because it's better for just going from one string to the next, basically, using onQ and DQ. So in the start dialogue method, excuse me, what I do here is just, for each string in the dialogue, it enqueues it, just shows what's there and displays the next sentence. Displaying the next sentence, this will show the next sentence in the queue, and we'll call the end dialogue method if the amount of sentences is 0. As well, you'll see the coroutine that I have in here, type sentence. What this does is just lets you set the characters to be typed individually. So using wait for second right here, you can change the speed for that to whatever you like. End dialogue, what this does is just set the animation for closing the dialog box, so it just comes off the screen. And as well, the tracker delay coroutine used here lets me add a small delay before the UI is updated during the player interaction. So the dialogue is pretty well fleshed out. The actual function is handled through this dialogue manager script, and this dialogue trigger script gets attached to the game objects that will trigger the dialogue, basically. Let's see, moving on to player interaction. First of all, each NPC in the scene is given this script, which lets it just have a name, basically an NPC ID. And for the player interaction, what this is keeping track of each NPC that the players interacted with once, but I've set it up so that you can't just do it twice and update the score again. I will say that there is a small bug in the game where you can trigger each NPC and fill the list, and as soon as you end the dialogue, that list will update and you can just beat the game having talked to one character. But I just want to recognize that bug. I know it's fixable, but I haven't had time to fix it. And I want to show as well in this player interaction script, what this does is as the player interacts, it logs each NPC's name, so their ID, into a list of interacted NPCs. And it updates the UI just to show the count of interacted NPCs, which lets the player keep track. And for different intervals, certain amounts of NPCs that are interacted with will do other things. So it'll do this progress update coroutine, which it's in a coroutine just so it can let me keep a different UI element on screen for a small amount of time. Or it will finish the game, which again just sets certain UI elements active, and this one it's just always set active because the game is finished. It doesn't need to be disabled. So yeah, while my scripts there aren't a lot of them. There isn't a lot of interaction. I do have the camera switch as well, which is a very basic one. Basically, when the player is inside a certain area, the trigger will disable certain cameras and enable the correct ones. You know, the functions are all separated into different methods, and they're called on the trigger events just for optimization's sake. And this is another similar, very basic thing where the player activates the trigger and certain things get activated or deactivated. Each thing has a single responsibility following the solid principles and the object-oriented principles. So each script is well thought out, and I'm very cognizant of having them be professional and full of comments and easy to read. So hopefully that was a clear video for explaining it. Thank you.